Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is CPA Makan, and I'm still taking you through revision on quantitative analysis, CPA CASNEP syllabus. Last sitting, that is December 2024. Therefore, welcome to our two questions today. That is question 7 and also question 4. So today I'm handling question 7 and question 4. Question 7 is purely about behavior of customers who are actually moving from customers who are moving from one client or one supplier to another because of some reasons. Maybe because of the discounts available or because of the customer care that is presentable and well in that particular supplier. Sometimes can also be due to the extra services that these customers are given. So this particular area is not about the input-output analysis, but is purely about the movement of customers. That is prediction of customers on whether they are moving from one supplier to another and for what percentage. So therefore, let me analyze that question 7A. And before I do that, let me first of all introduce this particular element that yes, I'm taking you through quantitative analysis, financial reporting, and also financial accounting and financial management. So there are 3 subjects that I'm undertaking, and therefore wherever you are, you can book your lessons, you can book also your revision anywhere you are, and we shall be able to deliver. Therefore, at this particular juncture, yes, I request you, if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly do the same. And if you have a friend, a relative who is either in doing this CASNEP syllabus or undertaking the BCom, that is Bachelor of Commerce, you can also welcome the same person to like and subscribe to this particular YouTube, because CASNEP syllabus, especially the quantitative analysis, financial reporting, and also financial management, cuts across. So it can go to any other, as long as you are undertaking the business courses, you will be able to get much and more. Welcome to revision now. Question 7A. Question 7A. So this is the behavior of customers on how they are moving from one supplier to another based on quantity, quality, customer care, and also based on the extra services being given. So it is based on the competition. So let's see question A. Tangles Limited is the sole producer of 3 hair products, Kingi, Flaxi, and Flat, that currently have a market share of 30%, 50%, and 20% respectively. Each month, some brand switching takes place as follows. Customers that bought Kingi the previous month, 70% buy it again, while equal proportion switch to Flixi, Fluffy, and Flat respectively. Customers that bought Fluffy the previous month, 60% bought it again, while 25% switched to Kingi and 15% to Flat. Customers that bought Flat the previous month, 70% remain, while 10% switch to Kingi and 20% to Fluffy. Required: A. Construct probability transition matrix of the switching probability. B. Calculate the new market share a month after the current market share. Roman 3. Calculate the steady state. So in this case, Roman 1 is 3 marks, Roman 2 4 marks, and Roman 3 7 marks. That gives you 14 marks. Now, this is a very simple topic like the simplex method we handled the other time. So welcome and enjoy the lesson. Now in this case, we are being told that Tangi, let's analyze this information first. Tangle Limited is the sole proprietor of 3 hair producers. So we have hair products like Kingi, Flassy, and Flacti. So in this case, I'm going to answer Roman 1 in 2 ways. It will depend on you which one you are able to understand and you are able to digest and share with your friends. A is saying construct a probability transition. So Roman 1, probability transition. So probability transition is that particular transition that will remain constant over a certain period of time when the behavior of switching from one brand to another or from one supplier to another is taking place. When this switching of customers from one to another, we will retain the transition matrix. And this transition matrix is based on how many customers you have retained this particular season and how many customers you have left, you have actually lost. In this case, let's see what is going to happen. Now, there are three customers here. There are three products, sorry. So the first product is called Kingi. So we can say we have Kingi here. We have Kingi. We have Flaxy, Fluffy, and we have Flat. Those are the three products. Then these products here, you can also show them here by saying Kingi, Fluffy, and Flat. Now look at what I'm going to do. In this case, I'm going to use the rule of row and column basis, whereby when I'm losing the customers, the probability that I'm losing to others will be actually shown on the row column. That is to say, if for example Kingi is losing some customers to Fluffy, that probability of losing will be shown on the row. Therefore, in this case, I'm going to use row loss against what? Row. So the loss, I will show them against the row. In this case, I will be now indicating the loss on the row. Whatever I'm regaining, or sorry, whatever I'm retaining will remain in the specific place. So I'm saying loss, row, loss, row. So any loss will be shown on the row column. So let's see. First, I'm saying customers that bought Kingi the previous month, 70% buy it again, which means that particular product retains 70% of the customers. So Kingi is now retaining 70%, which is 0.7. What does it say again? While equal proportion switch to. So Kingi is losing 30% to Fluffy, and Flat. That is 30% divided by 2. You get now 15% is 1.5, and here is also 1.5. The second additional information, customers that bought Fluffy. So you see there is Fluffy here. Fluffy is in the second column. So second row, second column. So we go here. What does it say? It says customers that bought Fluffy the previous month, 60% bought it again. So we buy it again here, 60%. So the remaining, what will happen? 20% switch to Kingi. So Fluffy will lose 25% to Kingi. So Kingi will gain that. Then the remaining now, that is 15%, will be left to Flat. So this is 0.15. The third additional information, customers that bought Flat the previous month, 70% remain. So Flat. So 70% is remaining. Very simple like that. Then 10% switch to Kingi. So Flat lost 10% to Kingi and lost 20% to Fluffy. 20% to Fluffy. So the question was saying, Roman 1, construct probability transition matrix of the switching probability. So this is what they wanted you to come up with, 4 marks. So we can also say or, correct? So look at what I'm going to do. I want to come up with this formula, with this probability by using another method, whereby I can say I will have Kingi. Maybe I can say Kingi is here. Then I can have Fluffy here. Then I can have Flat here. So this Kingi here, Fluffy here, and Fluffy. Let me say Fluffy double F here, then here is FL. So this K stands for kingy, FT stands for fluffy, and FL stands for flat. Now we want now to go one by one and see how the customers are moving from one product to another. Let's see. According to additional information number 1, it says customers that bought kingy the previous month 70% buy it today. Again, that means this kingy is retaining 70%. Look at what I'm saying. Look at how I'm showing this particular arrow. This particular arrow is showing I'm retaining 70%. Then it is also saying while equal proportion switch to, so that is losing 0.15% to fluffy, and is losing also 0.5% to flat. That is Roman 1. Roman 2. Customers that bought fluffy the previous month 60% buy it now. Fluffy, this one. So fluffy will retain, you can see, it's retaining 0.6% is being retained by fluffy. Then what happens? 25% switch to kingy. So this fluffy is losing 25%. You can see how simple it is. Then 15% to flat. So fluffy is losing 15%. Correct? Then Roman 4, that's additional information number 3. Customers that bought flat the previous month 70% remain. So this flat will retain 70%. What will happen? While 10% switch to kingy. So flat will lose 10% to kingy. And 20% to fluffy. Will lose 20% to fluffy. So from this diagram that I've just drawn, you can easily now come up with these transition probabilities. Now let's see how it is going to come. You write now the way it is: kingy, fluffy, and flat. Here is also kingy, fluffy, and flat. Now, once you have written your information like this, you go one by one. They are saying kingy is retaining 70%. So you write there 0.7. Then kingy is losing. You see, you follow the arrow. Kingy, I'm talking about kingy here. You follow kingy to the end. Then kingy is losing 0.15 to flat, 0.5 to fluffy, 0.15 to fluffy. And then is losing also, you can see kingy is losing 15% to flat, which is 0.15. You are through with it, kingy. Go to fluffy, which is this one. Now, what is happening with the fluffy? Fluffy is retaining 60%, which is 0.6. Then from there, fluffy is losing 0.25 to kingy. 0.25 to kingy, and then fluffy is losing 15% to flat, 0.15. You are through with it, flat. Then you go to fluffy, sorry, you are through with fluffy, go to flat. Flat is retaining 70%, 0.7. Then flat is losing 10% to kingy, 0.15 is lost to kingy. Then flat is losing 25% to fluffy, so 25%, 0.25. Automatically you will have the same answer like the one I have up here. Roman 2. Calculate the new market share a month after the current market share. Now in this case, they are asking you to predict the behavior or the behavior of customers in terms of percentage after 1 year. Therefore, already we have the current or initial percentage of customers. In this case now we can say initial case, in this case, we have kingi, that is according to the first part, that's saying flat in the percent have a market share of 30%, 50%, and 20%. So kingi here, currently as we speak, kingi is controlling 30%. Fluffy is controlling 50%. And flat is controlling 20%. This is the initial control of the market. It means that kingi is controlling 30% of the market. Then 50% for fluffy and 20% for flat. Therefore, this is our initial. So we are being asked, show the market share after 1 year. So for that case, this is our probability that will remain constant. For us to predict the future, you are told you need to take the current share, correct, multiply by transition probability. Transition probability. Correct? In this case now, I have the current state here, which is 30, 50, and 20%. I multiply by the transition probability. In this case, I have 0.7, 0.15, and 0.15. Then 0.25, 0.6, and 0.15. The last one is 0.1, 0.2, and 0.7. So I'm multiplying. So therefore, in this case, we were told that in this case, if you want now to know whether this particular if the first matrix is multipliable with the second matrix, know how many columns are there in the first matrix and how many rows are there in the second matrix. So in the first matrix, we have 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. Then in the second matrix, how many rows? 1, 2, 3. Therefore, it means that these 2 matrices can be multiplied. Therefore, how do we multiply? Row times column, row times column, row times column. How do we go about? 30% times 0.7 plus 50% times 0.25 plus 20% times 0.1. You get the first one. The second one is 30% times 0.15 plus 50% times 0.6 plus 20% times 0.2. You get the answer. Then the last one is 30% times 0.15, 50% times 0.15, and 20% times 0.7. You get the answer. Now, if you multiply that answer correctly, without any problem as per that explanation, so if you multiply this one, it will give you 35.5%, 38.5%, and finally 26%. What does it mean? Kingi, this is kingi. This is a fluffy. And this is flat. This is 1 month after. If the question is saying 2 months, the second month, meaning this is the first month. If you want to go to the second month, you take now the current, this one becomes now your initial probability. You again say 35.5%, 38.5%, 26% into brackets, 0.7, 0.15, 0.15, then 0.25, 0.6, and 0.15, then 0.1, 0.2, and 0.7. So if you multiply, you will get now the future or a prediction or an estimate after the second month. If you have been asked the third month, that probability, the percentage you will get here, you will multiply again by the probability, which is remaining what? Constant. That is how you are supposed to answer that particular question. Okay. Now, That is Roman 2. So we go to Roman 3. Roman 3 says, calculate what? Roman 3 is saying, they want you to calculate the steady state. Steady state. Now, according to our notes, a steady state is where the probabilities or the transition probabilities together with the prediction there are not changing. They are almost constant. There is no change. Even if you go to the third or the fourth month or the fourth year or the fifth or sixth year, the probabilities are no longer changing. They are now at the constant state, which means they are balancing. In this case now, we want to see at what market share are the probabilities balancing. In this case now we can say, okay, I have how many products? 3 products. Let the first product be X, the second product be Y, let the third product be Z. Or let the first product be X1, second product X2, and third product X3. In this case, that is what I can do. I can now do like that. But for us to calculate this, our work will be very simple. Just do this way. Steady state is where probability X, Y, then the remaining, you do it like that. It means X is the percentage for Kingi, Y is the percentage for Fluffy, while the remaining percentage, which is 1 minus X minus Y, will be the for flat. Then from there you multiply by your probability. In this case it is 0.7, 0.15, 0.15, then 0.25, 0.6, 0.15, then 0.1, 0.2, and 0.7. The answer, you see, this probability will be this, when you multiply, this one will be equals to X, Y, and 1 minus X minus Y. So when you multiply this percentage times the probability will be equal to the same X, Y, 1 minus X minus Y. After that, you use the multiplication. So the row times column. So it will be X1 times 0.5, okay, plus Y times 0.5 plus, this is 1. So it will be 1 times 0.5 minus negative X minus negative X minus negative Y. So which means this 0.1 is multiplied by these 3 elements. So if you work out that well with that multiplication, then once you have done, you multiply this, you equate with that, then you equate with this one. Then you go to the second here, you equate with that. Now, instead of you going to the third, you would have already found the 2 unknowns, that is X and Y, because you are only using 2 unknowns in this case. So when you multiply carefully, X times 0.7, you get 0.7 X plus 0.25 Y plus 1 times 0.1 plus, sorry, this is now minus 0.1 X minus 0.1 Y. Your answer equals to X. Correct? Now, once you have done that, you collect the like terms. Immediately you collect the like terms, your answer you get in this case, if you simplify, you will get now 0.6X plus 0.15 plus 0.1 equals to X. Now you can see this X and this X, you can also collect the like terms. So take this one to the other side, you get what? 0.15 plus 0.15 Y plus 0.1 equals to, this one is minus, gives you 0.4 X. Divide by 0.4, divide by 0.4. So if you divide that now, it will give, that is 0.15 divided by 0.4 plus 0.1 divided by 0.4. Your answer you get there is 0.37, not 7 but 375 Y plus 0.2 will give is equals to x. Then you go to the second. So this times that will give you what? This is now your first equation. Second equation will be x times 0.15, 0.15x plus 0.6y plus 0.2 minus 0.2x minus 0.2y. My answer equals to the second one, which is y. Now equals to y. If you now work out that, your answer you will get once you have done the collection there, your work will be very simple. So this one will give you negative 0.05y, sorry, not y but x, 0.0x plus 0.6y plus 0.2, your answer plus 0.2, negative 0 plus 0.4 y plus 0.2 will give you y. So there is y here will cross to the other side, becomes a negative, so it gives you negative 0.05x plus 0.2 equals, this one when it crosses gives you 0.6 y. So you can decide now how do you want to solve the problem. You can either say I want to solve it in the form of simultaneous equation, or I make also this equation to be like this one. So which means that I'm making x the subject of the formula. If you make x the subject of the formula, you'll be having now the second equation. So therefore your work will be very simple here. What you do now, let me just make x the subject of the formula. So this one will cross to the other side, gives you 0.05x negative, this is negative x, equals to 0.6y minus 0.2. I will divide by negative 0.05, divide this one by 0.05. So x alone will give you negative, so if you multiply that carefully, your answer you will get is negative 12y, correct, plus 4. So you now equate. This now becomes your second equation. So you now equation 1 equals to equation 2. Therefore equation 1 is here, which is 0.3755y plus 0.25 equals to this equation 2, negative 12y plus 4. Now if you collect the like terms properly, you will find that your y will be, your y in this case will be 0.303. Correct? Then once you get that, substitute this one in the first equation. So where is your first equation? So my first equation is here. It is 0.375y plus 0.25 equals to x. So I want to find the value of x. I have already y here, so I substitute here. 0.375 multiplied by 0.303 plus 0.25 equals to x. If you work out that answer correctly, your answer for x is, your x now value is 0.3636. Now, for you to get now the probability or the market, remember this one stands for 36.36%, this one stands for 30.3%. That is now the percentage form or in decimal form like that. Now, the third product, which is now the flat, will take the remaining, which is now 1 minus x minus y equals to, which means you just substitute x, you put 0.3636 minus y 0.303, and then when you substitute, your answer you get there will be 0.0.33. 33.34, which is the same as 33.34%. So that is how you are supposed to work out that particular question. I hope you are enjoying, so let's move on. That is how you are supposed to work out question 7. Let's go to question 4. Turn to question 4, and then that will be marking the end of December 2024 revision. Let's go to question 4. Question 4 is about decision tree. It is about decision tree. It is about decision tree. Now the question reads, Faida Limited is in the process of reviewing the selling price for product X, XL. The selling price under considerations are 50 shillings, 55 shillings, and 60 shillings. The following additional information is provided about the forecasted demand for product XXL under 3 different market conditions. We have the selling price there, given as 50, 55, and 60. We have the market conditions, that is good, moderate, and bad. Then additional information says the fixed costs are estimated at 300,000 and the variable cost per unit is 30 shillings. So in this case, you have been given the selling price. They want to make a decision on whether to operate using 50 shillings per unit, or 55 shillings per unit, or 60 shillings per unit. You have also been told the variable cost, which means the cost that was used to buy that particular unit is 30 shillings. The question now you ask yourself is, why were you given the selling price together with the variable cost? Is to calculate the contribution margin. So in this case, calculate the contribution margin per option. So there are 3 options. Option 1 at 50 shillings. Option 2 at 55 shillings. And option 3 at 60 shillings. So for that matter, we can automatically draw the diagram and interpret and show this information. Roman 1, construct the payoff trade for product XL. 6 marks. So let's see. So there are 3 outcomes, and we want to make a decision from the 3 selling price. So let's see. Now for that case, we are told now you have to begin with the decision like that. This decision now says there is one at 50 shillings. There is another one at 55 shillings. And there is another one at 60 shillings. Correct? Now, under this selling price of 50, 55, and 60, there will be 3 market conditions. These 3 market conditions will be affecting the 3 prices. So therefore, you now say, I will have the 3 market conditions there. Condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. Also here, condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. This one is the same, condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. Correct? Now, these 3 conditions, the first one was good, moderate, and bad. That in this case here, you can have good, moderate, and bad. Also, this one is good, moderate, and bad. Then good, moderate, and bad. So we have good, moderate, and bad. Good, moderate, and bad. Good, moderate, and bad. Now, when it is good now, for product, when it is good, at price 50, it will be 20, which means that is the outcome now. Now, when you look at the question carefully, we have now good. Good is coming downwards. That is from 50 shillings, 55, and 60. Good here it will be 20,000 here. So I'll write there 20,000. Good for 55 is 18,000. Oh, sorry. Good for 55 is here, 18,000. And then good for 60 shillings is 16. Then for moderate, it will be 18 here, 18,000 units. This one will be 16,500 units. Then this one here is 14,000. When it is bad condition, for at price 50, it will be 14,000. 14,000 K. This is 16.5 K. Then this one will be 14K. This one will be 12K. And this one will be 8.5K. That is 8,500. Now, that is what we have been given. So we have been told to represent this in your tree diagram. After you have done this, you have not completed. Correct? You have been given the selling price. Against, there is also the variable cost. Now, from here, you can now say, okay, I have my selling price here. For this one, it will be, this one will be 50, 50, 50. This one will be 55, 55, 55. This one will be 60, 60, and 60. We were also told there is variable cost. So you bring your variable cost there, which is 30 for each element. Correct? Like that. So that now when you take the selling price minus variable cost, you get what you call contribution margin. So the first one will be 20, 20, 20, 25, 25, 25, 30, 30, 30. Correct? Now, when I have this contribution margin, I can now multiply with the units I'm selling. So these are the sales in units. These are sales in units. Can you get now the sales in shillings? That is now the operating profits. So I can now have my operating profits, correct? Which means this is the profit without the fixed cost. So operating profit now, that is now variable costs, marginal contribution margin here. You can see the contribution margin multiplied by the number of units. So if you now say 20 times 20,000, 20 times 18,000, 20 times 14,000, and it applies like that to the end, you get the following answers. So you multiply here, you get 400,000 or 400K. This is 360,000. This one is 280,000. Second one is giving you 450,000. This one is giving you 412,000. 500. This one is giving you 300,000. Then this one is giving you 480,000. 420,000. And 255. 255,000. Now, at what point are we supposed to subtract the 300,000 as a fixed cost? Can we subtract the 300 directly from this? No. That 300,000 is affecting element here, the whole of this. Therefore, it means I need to add this so that I get the answer. Add that add that, so that you now come and subtract. So when you add this 400,000, 360,000 plus 280,000, your answer you get is 110,40,000. This one gives you 1162,500. This one gives you 1155,000. Then I have my fixed cost. So I want now to subtract the profit, the costs now, fixed cost. So let me summarize this to be 10,1040,000. This one will be 11,500, and this one is 11,55,000. So that now I have a space for 300,000. So I will have now my 300,000 there, 300,000 here, and 300,000 here. So I will now have the net profit. So net profit is now the operating profit minus fixed cost, like that. So when you subtract, you will get 740,000 here, 740,000. You will have here 862,000, and you will have here 855, 62.5. Here is 0.5,000. Then you will have 855,000. So I have the net profit now. It means that when I have my selling price at 50 shillings, my net profit at the end will be 740,000. If I have my selling price at 55, my net profit will be 862.5. And if my selling price is 16, my net profit will be 855,000. Now, that is Roman 1. Roman 2. Roman 2. Advise Faida Limited on the best selling price based on Maximax. Which Maximax? Maximax means maximum of the maximum. Out of this, which one is the highest profit? It is in what? When we use the selling price at 55, because it is giving you what? 862.5. So therefore, the highest profit is when the selling price is at what? 55. So my advice here, you can now say selling price at shillings 55. Why? It is giving you the highest profit. Roman 2. Roman 2. Advise Faida Limited on the best selling price for product X based on maximum. Maximum means maximum of the minimum. Minimum means which one is the lowest profit here? It is 740. Therefore, the selling price when you use now this one, when you use a Maximax. Now, when you use now the minimax selling price, it will change to at 50 shillings. This is minimax. This is maximum. Sorry. Maximum. So when you use a maximum criterion, it will be at 50 shillings. 50 shillings. It will be at 50 shillings. Roman 4. Determine the best selling price for product X based on expected monetary value. Expected monetary value criterion given that the probability for good, moderate, bad market criterion is 0.3, 0.5, and 0.2. So they are saying that out of this outcome for the market conditions, there are probabilities. So here is 0.3, 0.3, 0.5, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, and 0.2. So your work is very simple. Your work is very simple. Now look at what is happening. Instead of having the whole of this profit here, operating profit at 400,000, this one is being affected by this. Or instead of you having the entire 740,000, this amount here is subject to the probability, these two. So therefore, for you to get this, you will say 0.3 times 400 plus 0.4 times 360 plus 0.2 times 280. You will get a different answer here. Once you get the different answer here, you subtract now 300,000 so that you get now the correct profit when it is subject to probability. Now let's see what is going to happen. This is using expected monetary value. Now if that is the case, your work is very, very simple. At 50, correct? At 50 now, at 50, that is now at 50 shillings. At selling price 50 here. The probability is 0.3 times the operating profit of 400,000 plus 0.5 times the operating profit of 360, okay, plus 0.2 times 280k. What is your answer? Correct? What is your answer? Then I will get the answer there. I will get is 356,000. 356,000. Then at 55, 0.3 times 450 plus 0.5 times 412.5 plus 0.2 times 300. Okay, your answer there is 401 250. Then when the price is at 60, do 0.3 times 480 plus 0.5 times 420 plus 0.2 times 255,000. So when you multiply that, your answer is 405,000. Correct? That is now your new operating profit. This is now your operating profit. Then you less now your fixed cost. Fixed cost of 300,000. Now, what is your net profit? So, my net profit for the first one is 56,000. The second one is 101, 250. Third one is 105, 105,000. So you are asked which is the best selling price. So you say now the best selling price is, which one now there? Is at 60 shillings. That is how you are supposed to answer that question. So today I've handled two areas. The first one is about prediction of our customers, how they move from one client to another. Then another one is what they call decision tree. So this one marks the end of our revision for the sitting December 2024 QA analysis, quantitative analysis for CPA and CIFA. So thank you and welcome, and continue watching my video. And if you have any question regarding whatever we have discussed, I'm also free to be reached on 0735 346 777. Thank you and have a wonderful time ahead.